Hey y'all. Alright. You ready for the June TBR? No. You ready for the June wrap up? Alright, the first book I'm going to talk about is, obviously, Scythe by Neal Shusterman. One of my new favorites. Scythe is basically about Grim Reapers, and it follows two points of view. One is Citra, and one is Rowan. Yet Citra's a girl, Rowan's a boy. They're both 16. There's trigger warnings of murder and suicide, obviously, because it's about this futuristic utopian world where there's no death or anything like that, so it's up to Scythe to keep the population under control. I gave it 5 stars. It's youth, fantasy, sci-fi. I put dystopian, but to me it's a utopian because there's no sickness, no death, no rich and poor. The second book I read was the Illuminae Files #1, which is Illuminae by Amie Kaufman. It's If You See Me Looking Down, note. It's a sci-fi youth romance. It's 2 points of view, Katie and Ezra. Actually, it was more than that because there was the computer in one of the ships, Aiden. It was 600 pages long, and I only gave it 2 stars. I thought I would like it better than I did, but it just dragged out. It was over halfway through before anything exciting happened. I do love the way it was written though, because it's written where like one page, well, for a few pages there will be emails between 2 different people, and then the next page will be like a receipt, and the next page will be an email, or you know what I mean, a text, whatever. So it's not like a regular book, it's like files talking about what happened. But it's outer space, it's on a spaceship, there's multiple spaceships. It's their journey from, they started out on the Carenza colony, which was on a planet, and at the first of the book they got attacked there, so that's not a spoiler. And when they escaped, Katie ended up on the science vessel called Hypatia, and Ezra ended up on the battle carrier Alexander. So a lot of it's them talking back and forth through emails and stuff. Both kids are 17 years old. They're running from another ship called Lincoln, and they're heading to a place called Jump Station Heimdall, and it will take about 6 or 7 months to get to Heimdall. And the story is they're trying to figure out what happened when they were attacked and all that stuff at the first of the book. So it's just them reading files and stuff for 6 or 7 months trying to figure things out. Oh, and then there's a virus involved. There's an outbreak, and it's called Phobos, which is from the ancient Greek meaning fear, and Phobos was also the son of Ares and Aphrodite, which I thought that was really interesting that they used an actual name from mythology. The third book I read is A Heart and a Body in the World by Deb Caletti. Whoa, why am I so... Hello? Hello. Okay, so the next book I read is A Heart and a Body in the World by Deb Caletti. I gave it 3 stars. It's a realistic fiction youth contemporary. It's about a girl who has a tragedy happen in her life, so she decides to run from Seattle to Washington DC and deal and like mentally cope with what happened. There's a quote in there. It says a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and I really like that quote. It's really positive. The girl's name is Annabelle. She lives in Seattle. She keeps having flashbacks and references something that happened to her like the year before. about a third of the way through the book, I thought I had it figured out, but I was wrong. So it wasn't exactly what I thought it was, but it was close. She has anxiety, PTSD, panic attacks, stuff like that, which when you get to the end and you see what happened to her, you understand why. While I was reading it, I was thinking about the book Speak by Laura Anderson, and I don't know, some people might disagree with me, but I think this book and the book Speak should be required reading in high schools. Maybe junior highs, but mainly high schools. Trigger warnings: PTSD, anxiety, panic attacks, and gun violence. So, there you go. On audiobook, I listened to the second Stephanie Plum book in the Stephanie Plum series, Two for the Dough by Janet Evanovich. It's a mystery chick-lit humor. I gave it 5 stars. If you're looking for something to just listen to, which is what I do, I listen to it when I clean, cook, and stuff, I would recommend this series. It's so funny. She's really strong as far as wanting to be independent, but at the same time, she goes back and eats dinner with her parents at their house like several times a week. There's a little bit of romance between her and Morelli, but it's not too romancy, which I like because I don't like a lot of romance. I know. No, rom-coms I love, but I don't like a lot of different romances. But that's just my opinion. In each book, there's usually a murder mystery, or at least some kind of mystery that she kind of gets tangled up in and has to help figure it out. She's a female bounty hunter, but she's not really that good at it, which is where the funny part comes in. But I would highly recommend it. Another book I read is Ghost by Raina. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that name. Telgemeier. Raina Telgemeier. Anyway, it's a graphic novel. I gave it 3 stars. It's illustrated by Braden Lamb. It's middle grade, paranormal, fantasy, graphic novel. It's about a girl named Kat and her family. They're moving from Southern California to Northern California because her little sister Maya has cystic fibrosis. There's a scene in there. Maya starts to pet a black cat, and Cat fusses at her and tells her don't do that because black cats are bad luck. And I really, really hated that scene. And I'm not gonna lie, that's why I took 1 of the stars away, because black cats get enough hate and bullying, and they're just cats. They're just like the other cats. There's nothing wrong with them, and it annoys me that people do that. In the book, they are celebrating the Day of the Dead, or it kind of leads up to them celebrating the Day of the Dead. It's just a really cute little book about family. Okay, another book that I didn't finish, a book that I didn't finish and I only gave it 1 star, is How to Tell If Your Cat Is Plotting to Kill You by Matthew Inman. It's humor animals. It was a graphic novel. It's just basically these little comic strips and stuff of cats getting into mischief. And it starts out really funny, because I went into it thinking it was going to be just hilarious, because I'm a cat person. There's one in there that says, when your cat needs you, it says you may think this is a sign of affection, but your cat is actually checking your internal organs for weaknesses. And I thought the whole book was going to be like that, just really weird, funny stuff about cats. It started out funny, and then it went into things like 2 cats beating on a little small child on the playground, like making them eat grass. It kind of it kind of aggravated me because, I don't know, it just aggravated me because, yeah, cats are jerks sometimes, but they're not like that. I don't know. So I just quit reading it because it just got worse and worse and worse, and just more and more violent and unreasonable. But anyway, I read a classic called The Weston Game by Ellen Raskin. Gave it 3 stars. It was really good. It was a youth classic mystery, and it was one of those whodunit type mysteries, and I really love those type of things. 16 different people gathered together for the reading of Samuel Westing's will, which is why it's called The Weston Game. He was a game-loving millionaire who wanted to play one last game. They were all different backgrounds, wealth, nationality, etc., but all nieces and nephews of his, which a lot of them didn't even know that until they started investigating. Then they were like, we're descendants of his in some way. He never had any kids of his own, so he gathered all of them up and to see who would get the inheritance. Whoever won the game got the inheritance. But it was really good because it's a murder mystery, a whodunit, and that's like one of my favorite things. On audiobook, I managed to listen to 2 more of The Cirque du Freak by Darren Shan. I listened to number 4, which is Vampire Mountain, and I listened to number 5, Trials of Death. I'm not going to go into detail because as I listen to the series, just like Janet Evanovich, the Stephanie Plum series, I'm not going to keep talking about them in detail because it's obvious, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to drag it out in every video. People are going to get tired of hearing it and they're not going to want to read it. But anyway, I gave both of them 5 stars. They're youth paranormal horror fantasy. And normally I don't like some kinds of horror, but this is vampires, wolves, giant spiders, you know, so that type of stuff I love. That's all the ones I've read so far, but I'm reading 3 different books right now. So on audiobook, I'm listening to Stephanie Plum, the 3rd one. It's 3 to Get Deadly. Of course, it's gonna get 5 stars. I already know it is because I love the whole series. And I was reading The Stand by Stephen King. What was that? Gnat. I live in the country. It's normal. Anyway, so I was reading The Stand by Stephen King. If you don't know, it's an apocalyptic horror where this flu breaks out and kills like, I want to say like 90-95% of the world's population, which I'm not going to get done with that because I put it aside because I had reserved Thunderhead, which is the 2nd Scythe book by Neal Shusterman, and I'm reading it now, and I'm not very far into it, like 20% into it. So Thunderhead and The Stand I'm not going to finish because I think I only have 1 or 2 days left in this month, and I'm rambling now. So I'm going to shut up and let you go, and so we can get ready for my next video. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.